Okay, so today is December 16th, 2018. Avner, how old are you?
5.
5. So yesterday we studied the Parasha, right? Yesterday morning while Papa was rehearsing. So tell me, I'm gonna ask you some questions about the Parasha. Okay? So who did we talk about? What was the main character's name?
Joseph.
Joseph, right? And Joseph was the son of who?
Isaac.
Jacob, right? Jacob. Okay. And tell me, how many brothers did Joseph have?
11.
11. And then he had what else?
12.
Well, he had 12 brothers and one what?
Benjamin.
Okay, but he had one sister, right?
Right.
What was the sister's name?
Can't remember.
Dina, right?
Dina.
Okay. So tell me, so Joseph had some dreams when he was living with his mother and his father, or with his parents and with his brothers. Can you tell me one of those dreams?
That the hay bowed down to him and the moon and the stars bowed down to him.
Mm-hmm. And so, what did Jacob make for Joseph?
A special coat with all the colors.
Yes, okay. And did Jacob's brothers love him very much? Oh, no. Joseph's brothers? No. What did they do to him?
They put him in a hole.
In a hole for how long?
3 days.
For 3 days. And then what did they do? What ended up happening with Joseph?
The 11 brothers took him to
They sold him, right?
They sold him.
As a what?
Labor.
As a slave, right?
As a slave.
And he ended up where?
In Egypt.
In Egypt, okay. And what happened to Joseph there in Egypt? Can you tell me one of the things that happened to him?
That Pharaoh's mother had lied to him.
No, that was Potiphar's wife lied about him, right? And where did Joseph end up?
In prison.
In prison. And then in prison, there were some people who had some dreams, right? Do you remember any of those?
That there was 4 cows and there were 7 cows that come and ate them all.
But that was Pharaoh's dream, right? And Joseph interpreted that dream for him, right? And what did the dream mean?
It means that after 7 days, there were
7 years.
7 years that the crops were gonna fail, and then they won't eat.
Okay, and so what did Joseph do?
He made somewhere where you can get food, and he put it in the food. He's storing the food.
So he took a tax from the people, right? And he put away 20% of the food during the good years, so that when the bad years came, everybody could eat, right? And who came down to Egypt looking for food?
The 11 brothers.
The 11 brothers of Joseph, right? And did they recognize Joseph? No. Why did they not recognize him?
Because it's been a long time since they see him.
And what else?
That Joseph recognized them, but they didn't.
Right, but why didn't they recognize Joseph? What was another reason they didn't recognize him? Was he dressed differently than them?
Yeah.
How was he dressed?
As an Indian.
It's an Egyptian, right?
It's Egyptian.
So they didn't recognize him. And so Joseph wanted to see his father. So what did he do?
He asked the 11 brothers to go to his father and bring him over to him.
But how did he manage that? How did he manage the brothers to bring down the father and all that?
By putting them in prison.
Right, he put one of the brothers in prison, right? Because why?
Because they were mean.
No, because he had put what?
Pharaoh's cup in their bag.
Right, and so he accused them of stealing, right? And then demanded that they bring the younger brother. And what was the name of the younger brother?
Benjamin.
Benjamin, right? And so in the end, He did what? When the brothers came back, what did Joseph do?
Apologize.
No. He did what? He said, I'm Joseph, right? And he did what?
He apologized to them.
No. He hugged them and he kissed them. And he told them that he forgave them for selling him into slavery, right? Because why? What had that cost? Him being sent down to Egypt, how was that a good thing?
By listening. By being good.
Because he had put away all this food that now was going to help their brothers who were hungry, right? And so he said, all the things that you wanted to do for bad, God has used for good, right? And so was Jacob happy when he saw Joseph? Yes. And then Joseph, by the time that he saw his father, had how many children?
12.
Two, remember? And what were the name of the sons? Do you remember?
No.
Ephraim and Manasseh, right?
Oh.
Okay. And so we said that Joseph had a lot of things in common with who?
Brothers.
No, but we said there was another figure in the Bible that he had a lot of things in common with, right?
Yeshua.
Yeshua, that's right. What things did he have in common with Yeshua? Do you remember?
No.
No, we just talked about it.
Oh. The 4 things?
Because Joseph had been in the pit for 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
And what had happened with Yeshua?
That he died on the cross.
And he was in the tomb for how long?
11 days.
No, 3 days, right?
3 days.
And then after 3 days, what happened?
Isaac? No.
After 3 days in the tomb, what happened with Yeshua?
That they buried him in the ground?
Yes, but then what happened after the 3 days, after they buried him?
That he became an angel.
No, he didn't become an angel. He resurrected, okay? And he became alive again, right? Okay. Okay, and let's see, what else can I ask you? I know. Why did Jacob think that Joseph was dead?
Cause mostly they wanted to pretend.
But how did they? What did they do that made Jacob think that Joseph was dead? Remember?
Oh, by putting the blood on the shirt.
On the coat, right? They put blood on the coat, and they told Jacob what?
Oh, why that someone ate him and left the blood there.
That Joseph had been eaten by a wild animal, right? And so what happened with Jacob?
That he really was in Egypt.
No, but when the father found out that his son was dead, what happened with the father, with Jacob? What did he do?
Cried.
He cried a lot and he grieved for his son, right? Okay. And so, what else? And so let me ask you something. Another thing that Joseph had in common with Yeshua was when Yeshua came to this world, did a lot of people recognize him as Messiah? No, right? They didn't recognize him. So that's another thing he has in common with Joseph, right? Okay. And how many disciples did Yeshua have?
12.
12, right? Okay, good. What else can I ask you? Let's see. Do you remember the name of the man that Joseph worked for in Egypt? Pharaoh in the end, but then at first he worked for a man called what?
I can't remember his name.
Potiphar, yeah, that's kind of hard. And what happened at Potiphar's house? Why did Joseph end up in jail?
Oh, because she told a lie to him.
She told a lie. She said that he had done something he hadn't done, right? And so Potiphar had to put him in jail. And what happened with Joseph in jail?
That he told what the dreams meant.
But see, you remember that we said that when he was in Potiphar's house, because Joseph was very good, that Potiphar prospered and he made a lot of money and he was very happy with Joseph. Did that happen to him in prison too? Was he a good servant to the guy in... Yeah.
Yes.
He was a good servant, and the guy in the prison prospered because of him, right? And so he gave him a good job in prison, right? And then he ended up being... What did he end up being for Pharaoh?
A good worker.
He was a good worker, but he ended up being what? The second in command of Pharaoh, right? And how did Joseph get out of prison?
By telling the truth.
Well, but he remembered there was 2 men in prison with him, right? And these men were what? What was their job? No, please stop making noise. What was the job of these 2 men? They worked for Pharaoh, doing what?
Making sure that no one hurts, that they don't hurt no one.
No, one of them was the one that brought what? The wine to Pharaoh, and the other one was what?
The one that gave out the bread.
The bread, right? And they both had dreams, and then one of them had heard that Pharaoh had a dream, and he did what?
He told it out to Joseph.
He told Pharaoh that there was a man called Joseph that knew how to interpret dreams, right? And so then Pharaoh called for Joseph, right? And what happened with Joseph when he got out of prison? What did they do for him to be able to go see Pharaoh?
They bring him to Pharaoh.
Yeah, but what did they do before they brought him to Pharaoh? Because he was in prison and he had a long beard probably, and he was all... What did they do?
They came to prison and they told him what happened and they bring him there.
Right, but they took him out of prison and they washed him up and they put on him some nice clothing so that he could go in front of Pharaoh, right? And Pharaoh told him his dream. And once Pharaoh told him his dream, what did Joseph tell Pharaoh?
That there's going to be 7 months and that all the crops will fail.
But how did Joseph know that all the crops were going to fail?
By God telling him.
Because he went to God and God told him, right? Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so next week we will talk about something else. We'll study the Parasha that goes after that one. And then we'll continue learning together, right? All right. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mwah.
Mwah.